It's time for the Your Personal Bank Show with Ference Toth, financial literacy educator and speaker, entrepreneur, and chairman of the board of a bank in formation. Take charge of your financial future with your personal bank. Now here's Ference Toth.
Welcome to the Your Personal Bank Show. And folks, I got an exciting guest today, one of our favorite guests, John Burley. John, welcome back to the show.
Oh, Ference, it's great to be back. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Now, those of you that maybe don't know who John Burley is, we've had him on the show several times. He's well, I'll just put it this way. He's a real estate expert, one of the most knowledgeable people I know in the real estate business. You started your own private equity firm, what, over 30 years ago?
Yeah, back in 1989.
Okay.
Originally, I come out of the world of Wall Street, financial planning, and we went out in 1989 and just did something that nobody had ever done before.
And what is that?
Well, up till then, all the private equity, the hedge funds, there weren't a lot of mutual funds that really specialized in real estate at that point. There were limited partnerships. They had all just done the commercial. Mm-hmm. And we all knew that residential, managed properly, made way more money than commercial. And there was just blocks. Probably the big problem with Wall Street is that most of them make almost none of the money off the performance and the investment. They just make it off of fees, where we work just for performance. And so what we did is we actually started doing large single-family portfolio about 20 years before all those big funds came out and did it 8, 9, 10. So we were one of the leaders, if not the leader, to actually do it and just put together large portfolios. And you just had to develop all the systems. In the end, we were right. They make way more money than the commercial portfolios do.
Okay. So I know you've done thousands of, if you had to guess, how many deals, real estate deals have you done or been involved with?
Thousands and thousands here in Arizona. We've also invested in pretty heavily in 11 other states. And then we've had a lot of positions in Australia and New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
So we've done a lot. and there's not much that happened that we haven't seen. We've been through 4 downturns.
Right.
So we've kind of been through the cycles over and over again, which makes it a lot easier to have a feel for what's coming because it's just history repeating a little bit different each time.
And then you've also written a couple of books. I know a couple have been international bestsellers.
Yeah, we've been really blessed. Money Secrets of the Rich was the best performing book I had. It sold over 1 million copies. It was down in Australia, New Zealand. It was actually #1 for all books. Outsold Harry Potter for a couple weeks, and spent like 3.5 years as #1. And was 9 years in the top 10 business bestseller. And then I've collaborated with several other people on several other books. Actually, over 10 million total books that I helped with. Are out there helping people.
Well, that is awesome. And then lastly, you've literally spoken around the world. I know you shared the stage with some pretty famous folks.
Yeah, pretty much most people that were big in the business we have. Lots of times, 10,000 up to 40,000 people. Was a lot of fun. Did a lot of it. At the end of the day, though, what I do is I do the real estate business, which is kind of unique. For someone who does some of the education to actually specialize in what they teach.
Right.
Because obviously, if I'm running around a couple hundred days a year teaching and speaking, I'm not really at home running an investment company because you can't do both.
Right. That makes sense. And for those of you, my compliance folks, to make you happy, I asked, John has become a good friend of mine, actually. We've served on a board together since. I met him through your real estate education program. I've been through, I think, 9 days of training myself.
Yeah.
And I've been through other real estate investment programs. And again, those of you who have listened to the show know that I've been investing in real estate myself since '01. John, the reason I asked John and talked to him, his program's the best I've ever attended.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
And he didn't pay me to say that. And he hasn't paid me and I haven't paid him. I just respect what he does. Okay. So that's why I asked John on the show, because as you know, John, this is the Your Personal Bank Show. We teach people how to set up high cash value policies to earn dividends.
Absolutely.
And then we set up bank lines of credit. The cash in the policy is collateral, so the folks can get the positive arbitrage, earning more dividends, and they're getting charged interest. And probably, well, the banks tell me this. The banks I work with, their #1 customer that uses this personal bank concept happen to be real estate investors.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and as you know, a large number of your clients
Yes.
Have invested with us or use our model to invest for themselves. Doing
Right.
the exact same thing, just accelerating the returns.
Exactly. And so the two kind of work hand in glove. I always say it's a good marriage.
Yeah.
Of enhancing returns and reducing taxes and benefits. Those of you that have heard of or may not know what they call the Burley model, if somebody was to ask you that, John, what is the Burley model?
Yeah, so what we did is we realized from my background that real estate really has absolutely nothing to do with real estate.
Right.
And I'll say it again, real estate's got nothing to do with real estate. It's entirely about money. We look at the asset class. It's the one I am passionate about, and we look at how to monetize it the best way. But the first thing we do is we help people in two ways. We have investors who place funds with us or with our students, and then we go out and raise money ourselves. When we raise the money, part of the model is we actually get an upfront fee. A lot of people who get started in real estate, you hear them say things like, well, I'm going to do flips or, rehabs in the short term to get up enough money to where I can actually, eat and then end up holding properties. Well, we teach, look, if you learn how to raise money first,
Right.
and then you get the money and you get paid to place the money, just like every other financial professional on the face of the earth, except for the silly little non-trained real estate investor, you actually have your money right up front. Why don't you just start with what you want to do, which is more, for most people, more the long term and the holding. And then what we do is we work on a very specific model. We're very, very selective on the properties we acquire. We look for value the day we get it, which you can still get right now in 2021, right where we're sitting.
So you can buy today and still be profitable in real estate, is what you're saying.
Oh, absolutely. And the reason is, and this is where, again, so many people are just so confused about how investing really works. I learned this from one of the greatest private equity operators in the history of the world, literally, almost 40 years ago. And it's like, it's not the price, it's the return.
Right.
And we're still teaching, and people are still making right now 10 to 25% cash on cash returns right out of the gate first year, and then it just improves every year afterwards. And so, it's just knowing the right properties to buy for the right value. And then the big part of the Burley model is what we looked at is I basically want the least amount of work possible.
Right.
My preference is to buy a property, move a resident in, and have them stay there forever. We actually have several residents right now that are 25 to 30 years in the property.
Wow.
And the reason is what we do is we give them a form of owner financing. We actually give them skin in the game, and we give them ownership. And just think about it. I mean, we use stereotypes. We use them because they're mostly true. There's always an exception, but they're mostly true. I mean, overall, obviously, homeowners take better care of their properties than renters.
Certainly.
Overall, somebody who's in a nice, solid, single-family home is going to stay way longer than someone who's in a duplex or a fourplex.
Right.
So we look at the real estate, the single-family home. We do all the asset classes within real estate, but single-family home is the primary one we use because it gives the highest return. That was designed as a long-term asset. Normal families live in their homes 10, 20-plus years. Mm-hmm. And so we buy Class B, solid, investment grade. I call them Lunch Pail Joe, mom and dad, married, a couple kids, drive a truck, live in the home forever. For many of us, it was the home you grew up in or your grandparents had.
Right.
They're there forever, and they stay, and they just pay, and they live there for the long term. They take care of the property. So when you have like all the CDC stuff, and everybody's all freaking out about the evictions, we've had almost zero effect because they're not renters. It's their own home, and they do understand that if they don't pay, they lose their home, which a lot of people don't get.
And John, I'm glad you brought up the thing about the moratorium. I'm gonna ask you a little bit more about that, probably the next segment.
Good.
But if somebody is this sounds interesting, or maybe you're interested in learning more. I always tell people, ask me about should you invest in real estate. They know I've been a real estate investor. The first thing I always ask them is, if they've ever done it before. If the answer is no, the first thing I tell them is get some education.
Yeah.
So you're offering a program coming up, I know soon. When is that, and how do they find out more?
Yeah, April 17th and 19th and April 23rd and 25th. It's back-to-back weekends. We have 2 3-day events. It's our annual spring training. Mm-hmm. And you can go to johnburley.com, JOHNBURLEY.com. There's some free downloads there, and you can get information about the event. It's being held live with common sense, normal protocols that we need to have in place today.
I like that.
And it's a really, really just massively packed with content. One thing that's very unique about me, I only do 4 education events a year. We kind of put those on hold last year, but we do 4 events a year. And the reason I only do 4 events a year is because I am a very active practitioner. We run one of the most successful private equity houses that there is in residential real estate. I've been doing it for decades. We're one of the largest buyers and holders of property in the history of Arizona. And so when we're sharing content with people at the events, we're sharing what really, really happened today. Not stuff we did 10 or 20 years ago, but today. And there's been some big changes with COVID and the CDC and moratoriums and the market being so exuberant right now.
Sure. And by the way, again, I'll say this, folks. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago I attended your spring training event.
Yes.
And I'd been a real estate investor since '01. I've shared this before. I've bought homes. I've done fix and flips. I did lease options. I became a builder. I did brought in the roads, the wells, and everything, built all of that. And after all of that, I went to John's spring training event. And again, I'll say this: I learned more at your, I think it was 2 or 3 day, those 2 weekends event. I learned more at your event than anything else I'd attended. I encourage folks, check it out.
Yeah, it's something we hear a lot. The other thing that's really just amazing for the student is, and from attending our events, is that a large percentage of the audience, the other students, are very, very successful practitioners. So we have, at this event already coming, we have several what we call Century Club members. And those would be people using our model who have over 100 properties under management, cash flowing. And most of them, 90+% of the time, are completely passive. You just get a check every month.
And by the way, I forgot to ask, what's the cost for your event?
It's $12.97.
Okay.
And that's 6 days, 6 days of live event, and then product package that includes a little over $10,000 worth of materials, audios, videos, and it also includes all the forms, all the docs, all the contracts, all the paperwork you need to make everything work for you. So it's very, very, very comprehensive. So
if you had somebody who was looking into real estate, or maybe had dabbled in it some and had some basic, maybe positive, maybe not so positive experiences, I would encourage them to check out your program, because rather than do that, then try on your own and lose more money potentially. Yeah, it'd be a good use of your dollars.
I think my experience has been, personally, and everybody I've met, you pay for the education before you start, not after. And we do have, for those who just want to get a feel for it, again, they can go to johnburley.com, and there's a lot of free downloads that they can get with really good heavy meat that gets them on their way.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to encourage everybody to stay tuned in the next segment, because I'm going to talk to John. I'm going to ask him about his opinion about real estate today, and particularly with the moratoriums set to expire, I believe, the end of this month, unless Congress passes this current bill that's out there that might extend it to September. But we're going to ask John his opinion in terms of how that's going to impact real estate and what you should do if you're looking at buying or selling or investing. So as always, stay tuned to the Your Personal Bank show. And if you've missed part of this this broadcast or this show here, or you can't stay on, I'm going to encourage you to go to yourpersonalbank.com to listen to this, pass it on, okay? So stay tuned. Don't miss the next segment.
For more information on Your Personal Bank, feel free to contact Ference at yourpersonalbank.com. Back to the Your Personal Bank show with Ference Toth.
Welcome back to the Your Personal Bank show. And like I said earlier, we have a special guest with us today, John Burley. Welcome back again, John.
Thank you, my friend.
And we've just been talking a lot about real estate. I'm going to tell you this. If you missed the first segment, I'm going to just encourage you to go to yourpersonalbank.com. Listen. You can pass it on, and just encourage you to do so, because John shared a bunch of great information about real estate and what's going on. But what I'm going to ask him now is this. There's a lot of these mortgage moratoriums that have been going on around the country, and rent eviction, whatever. Can't evict people, right? Whatever they call it. And they're set to expire the end of this month unless Congress passes this new bill, which may push it out to September. You're in the real estate world, John. And you're dealing with a lot of big investors, right, in that world.
Huge.
Yes. What's your opinion, their opinion? What's going to happen when this all expires?
Yeah, so the CDC issued moratoriums. There's a lot of questions on the constitutionality. A federal judge just did rule that it was unconstitutional and discriminatory and a violation of First Amendment rights, which I would agree with full-heartedly. It's pretty big discrimination. It would be, and one of the examples used would be literally like someone going into a grocery store, filling their cart with groceries, walking up the checker and saying COVID hardship, and walking out and putting the groceries in their car. Well, obviously, that's theft. You can't do that.
Right.
They've singled out adversarially against the landlords, and everybody just kind of thinks these are big conglomerates. The reality is, on single-family home nationally, it's over 60% of those are owned by mom-and-pop operators. It is not big companies that own single-family homes. It is mainly mom-and-pop operators.
Okay.
And so what's happening is it's difficult in many states to evict. In Arizona, there's ways we can still evict, and some of the courts in Arizona are holding them to you have to sign the documents, and you have to declare under penalty of perjury that you actually have a COVID hardship, which means, and by definition, it means your income's 80% of what it used to be. So if you're drawing an unemployment check and you're a regular person, you're actually netting probably more than you made working. So you have no COVID hardship.
I was sharing, John, I think the previous show that studies have shown about 50% of Americans on the unemployment are actually earning as much or more than working. Yeah,
and so the hardship questions. But so here it is right now. They're in place. I would imagine they'll be extended. Arizona, primarily, other than a couple of our cities, is not in favor of it as a whole, but they have to comply with the federal rules until they're overturned in the courts, which they will be eventually. But here's what it's doing for us. First of all, it really puts the model. So many people were so laissez-faire and so poor at landlording and had such poor practices that they have residents now who don't pay, won't pay, or can't pay.
Okay.
If you did proper practices and you put the proper person in who was properly qualified, and then you did like what we did and we teach, literally helping the people last year in the beginning get on assistance because they didn't know how.
Right.
Help them. Work with them. Be proactive. There's been lots of money that's given by the state and federal government that's available to tenants and landlords. Being proactive and having your residents get that money. And so we've eliminated a lot of the issues with our model by, first of all, having the right person.
Right.
And then second, helping them get through it. And then working with them whenever they could. We also, if it's just an actual system, generally what it'd be is normally it's a death, divorce, or disability stops someone from being able to pay.
Sure.
And when we get that, we've always just done friendly buyback programs. We just buy them out. We give them money to go to a new place they can afford to live.
Okay.
The opportunities are huge, though, because you've got a whole bunch of untrained.
Right.
And you've got a whole bunch of fee model, not performance model, Wall Street type people who are throwing in the towel and having problems raising money. So we're seeing more and more landlords who weren't trained pushing the panic button and dumping their properties, which just means more and more opportunities.
Now, if you let's say you had a rental property or several, is it too late to do that type? What would you recommend to that person right now?
Yeah. So if you've got people not paying, look, come and talk to somebody who knows what they're doing. Because first of all, there is government assistance that's available. We have a Facebook page, John Burley Real Estate Investing. You can go there and just pop your questions. You can go to thejohnburley.com. Heck, you can call my office at 623-561-8246, and we'll answer your questions and get you started.
Hey, folks, I'm gonna make sure you caught that, John. I'm gonna have you share that again. So if you have, I have a lot of listeners and a lot of my clients who have 1, 2, 5 rental properties, and like you said, they're not, you would say, professional or well-trained realtors. They just did it for some side income, and some of them are struggling. So where would they contact you for some assist or help and advice?
Yeah, so easy peasy for you. Go to Facebook, John Burley Real Estate Investing, ask to be a member, agree not to do inappropriate things, and you're in.
Okay.
Go to johnburley.com and get the free downloads and learn more about our events, or just call my office at 623-561-8246. Let them know you heard us on the radio show and you have questions, and if I'm in, I'll talk to you. If not, one of the members of my team will talk to you. And they're real estate investors is what we do.
Right.
Because a lot of times what it is like, it's not that you did anything wrong, it's just you didn't know what to do.
Right.
Because you weren't properly trained. And so you just need to really active what's going on today stuff. People following our model, posting all the time, tell us that they're having 90 to 100% of people pay.
Right.
Now, if you bought, Class C properties in bad neighborhoods, didn't properly vet your residents, man, you're living a nightmare right now. But you can fix that.
Okay.
You just need education to fix it.
And you have a program coming up also. Your spring training.
Yeah, our annual spring training is coming up. It's back-to-back weekends, April 17th to 19th. First weekend focuses mainly on how to get the money to do more deals. And then April 23rd to 25th, we teach you how the best practices for maintaining your properties and getting people to pay and be good residents and pay above market rents, and focused on creative acquisitions on how we buy real estate, even when you don't have a lot of money or when you don't have any credit.
So if there's somebody out there that's kind of struggling in the real estate landlord world right now, you can help salvage that.
Oh, absolutely. And we do that not weekly. We do that multiple times every day.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of it right now. Because a lot of people they didn't know what they didn't know, and now they know.
Well, lots changed in the last year too, hasn't it?
It's lots changed, and it's always changing. So we're seeing mainly, it's like, look, every time the government creates chaos, whether it's a CDC thing or anything at all the tax bills they passed in my entire lifetime, every time the government creates chaos, they create opportunity for those that truly know what they're doing, who have true high-end knowledge and are great practitioners. So I love when the government does this, because they just create more chaos, which means more opportunity for those that know what we're doing.
Well, I could say the same thing with my business.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. You've had some beautiful government just throw monkey wrenches in. When you throw the monkey wrench in, the masses scream and panic.
Right.
And the high-end professionals like yourself just smile and start studying and working with the best and most elite advisors in the world.
Right.
And then put up a plan to position yourself to take advantage of the great opportunities.
I'm like you. I do that several times a day.
Yeah.
With folks. It's like, what do I do? Or I was doing this and now this isn't working. And
there are workarounds right now on the moratorium.
Okay.
So not in every state, but in Arizona, Tucson tried to block it, and the Board of Supervisors actually passed an act that was immediately overthrown by the state because it was unconstitutional. They didn't have any authority to do it.
Right.
We do have a lot of people who are still doing evictions, but they're doing the evictions not for rent or COVID hardship. They're doing evictions for not taking care of the property, city code violations, et cetera. So there is, there's always a different way to go about something if you need to move somebody out who just refuses to pay.
Excellent. Well, folks, I'm going to tell you again, if you've missed anything that John's been sharing so far, go to yourpersonalbank.com, listen to the show. All the previously recorded shows are there, and listen to it, pass it on to anybody that you know may be interested. And stay tuned in this next segment, because John's been sharing solid gold, and I'm certain it's going to keep coming. So stay tuned.
For more information on Your Personal Bank, feel free to contact Ference at yourpersonalbank.com. Back to the Your Personal Bank Show with Ference Toth.
Welcome back to the Your Personal Bank Show, and we have one of our special guests, John Burley. He's been one of our favorite guests on this show, by the way, over the last couple of years. So, John, thank you for coming back again.
Oh, it's so great to be here again. Appreciate it.
And I always love asking John. If you didn't hear the previous segments, I'm going to say this again. Go to yourpersonalbank.com. Go to the previously recorded shows. Listen to this show. Pass it on. Save it. Listen to it. It's been solid gold. So, awesome information, John. John is a real estate expert, and I always love asking him, well, what about real estate? And the thing I want to ask you right now, John, is I know that we've been talking a lot about what they call the Burley model, and I know one of the things that's probably stands out maybe the most that's unique about your system is you talk about how to get paid $10,000 up front on each deal. How does that work?
Great question. So I come out of the world of Wall Street. I look at real estate investing foundationally and fundamentally different than literally any educator I ever heard talk about real estate. Because to me, real estate has nothing to do with real estate. It's entirely about money and nothing else.
Right.
And this is where I've been at different times in my life, and all the millions of people that we've taught over the years, we hear this all the time. Either, John, I don't have any money,
right, or
John, I don't have any credit. And yeah, there's no money down stuff you can do, but just straight up truth, it's hard.
Right.
I mean, I've done over 500, the subject to the mirror wrap owner financing transactions in my career, but that's only a small percentage of our deals. That's a big volume, but it's a small percentage.
Right.
But they're hard deals to find.
Right.
They just are. That's the truth. It's one thing people like about it is we don't blue sky things and make everything look easy, because it's not. This is work. You need to do. There's no such thing as get rich quick.
You mean I'm not going to sit on my couch, throw some money, and just make real estate make me money?
Yeah, no. You actually have to do something like every other industry.
Oh, okay.
But what we realized is that, and then I get this a lot. Hey, John, we did it, but I got 4 loans. The bank won't let me borrow any more money. Or I've got 10 houses. Or they get to a number, and even if they have money, they get blocked.
Right.
So at some point, whether it's 0 or 10 or whatever it is, at some point every real investor gets to the day where almost for sure the banks are going to say no more.
That happened to me personally.
It happened to you personally. It happens to everybody.
Right.
And so what I realized from my background that the way to really accelerate careers, and this is why we have so many people that, it's not get rich quick, but we have people literally go from 18 months to 3 years. You've met many of them.
Yes.
To complete financial independence for their life based on cash flow, getting $10, $20,
Right.
$30, $50,000 a month passive income for the rest of their lives in 18 months to 3 years. It's not.
And I don't mean to interrupt you, but what John just said there is very powerful. A number of those folks are clients of mine.
Yes.
And one of the things I share with people all the time, look, I'm looking at the financial records. Look, if I'm looking at your financials and your tax returns, it's really hard to lie to me.
Yeah.
So what John is saying is accurate because I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah, and we call it's not get rich quick.
Right.
It's get rich medium, I guess, but a year and a half to 3 years of good solid work to be free for the rest of your life. I don't know a program that actually does that for real.
That's not bad.
Maybe on TV shows, but those aren't real.
Okay.
And so what we do is we actually we teach people very specific model how to raise money. Most people do it as a non-security.
Mm-hmm.
We have very specific docs that are included with the spring training. Everything you got to do, dot the I's, cross the T's. There's a lot of rules you have to follow.
Right.
And what we do is we teach people how to raise money. And everything, this is the thing, other than the silly old little real estate investor, every other person in financial services of any type always gets paid first.
Right.
Otherwise, they can't stay in business.
Correct.
So what we do is we actually do a placement fee of $10,000 per door, per
Right.
property. And so a new investor can come on literally with no money whatsoever of their own, no ability to buy on their own. We teach them the model, and then they go out there and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 properties, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40, 50,000. So literally their first year or two, they're making the bulk of their income from the buying of the good properties and getting paid to buy like a true professional. And then
Okay.
after that, they then begin to build up the cash flow in the long term. I have so many people come to this like, John, I really want to do really good long-term properties that cash flow, but I can't do it because I don't have enough money. So I'm just going to do flips for a while. And then when I've made enough money from flips, then I'll start keeping. And we're like going,
I hear that all the time.
yeah. And we're like, why not just cherry pick and keep all the good deals forever now from day one? Do it right from day one. I mean, what other business? I mean, it would be like a doctor going, yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be a car salesman until I make enough money to buy the medical equipment to be a surgeon. It's like, no, you just become a surgeon.
Right.
And so what we do is we teach people how to take care of the real problem with real estate, money,
Right.
right off the bat. And that's allowed me, literally to do hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of transactions.
Right.
The majority of that was with other people's money because I've done so much. And, and basically what it is, we get a placement fee. We then only get paid if we perform. We teach you how to perform, how to make those 10 to 25% rates of return for you and your capital investor. And there's just a massive number of people out right now who are really, really scared about the stock market and other financial markets. And what they want is they want to be able to place their money and have someone like, well, you listening right now,
Right.
do the work for them. You just need to get the basic training.
I'm going to encourage you folks to stay tuned in the next segment because I'm going to ask John a little bit more about this in terms of how do you raise the funds today. Okay, so stay tuned. Don't miss it.
For more information on Your Personal Bank, feel free to contact Ference at yourpersonalbank.com. Back to the Your Personal Bank Show with Ference Toth.
Welcome back to the Your Personal Bank Show. And again, we have one of our favorite guests, John Burley, with us. Thank you for joining us again, John.
Awesome conversation.
And John is, I would just put it this way. He's a good friend of mine, and he's my real estate mentor. So I don't know anyone who knows more about real estate than you. Just for those that didn't hear the first part of this segment or this show, by the way, if you didn't, I'm going to really encourage you to go to yourpersonalbank.com and listen to this show or any of the previously recorded shows for that matter. You can go to our website, listen to it, forward it to anyone at any time. But for those that missed it, just give us a real fast background, your background, John, in real estate.
Yeah, I come out of the world of Wall Street. I originally started doing real estate in the early 80s when I was, barely legal. And in 1989, formed my own private equity company. Mm-hmm. And what we do is we raise money, small and large amounts, and then have bought thousands and thousands of properties here in Arizona. We're in 12 states and then also in a couple foreign countries. And we primarily hold them for the long term. And in today, 2021, ourselves and our students are, doing 10 to 25% returns first year, cash on cash in this market right now.
That's awesome. And you're also a best-selling author?
Yeah, Money Secrets of the Rich was #1 bestseller. Actually, outsold Harry Potter for a couple of weeks, and spent #1 business book for about 3.5 years. Spent almost 10 years on the business bestseller list. So we've been very, very blessed with a very successful book, helping millions of people.
And I always love asking you this one, John, because you used to speak around the world with a number of key speakers, and I already know the answer to this question. But who was your favorite person that you shared the stage with?
Zig Ziglar. Not even close.
Exactly.
Just a beacon of light in an industry that, quite frankly, has a tremendous amount of darkness. Just such integrity,
Right.
such a spirit, such a soul, and just really knew what he did. I saw Zig speak probably 25 times, and I actually flew out to San Diego and saw, I think it was his second or third to last speech, from the wings. And I went out, I took my son. He was like, "Why are we going, Dad?" And I go, "Well, I'm going to go see an old friend and talk one more time."
There you go.
Because Zig was sick. He was dying.
Yeah, I heard Zig speak a couple times too.
Yeah, amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah, incredible guy.
Absolutely.
And he was 25 years older than me, and he could outrun me. It's pretty sad when a 65-year-old guy's running you into the dirt.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So as we started the show off in the beginning, and I like John and I've gotten to know each other. We served on a board together and stuff. So I've had the pleasure of getting to know him better. I actually, as I shared, I've attended something like about 9 days of his training, and was some of the best real estate training I've ever attended or received, even though I had been a fairly experienced real estate investor prior.
Yeah.
And I know you have an event coming up.
Yeah, our annual spring training's coming up. I only do 4 events a year. This one's April 17th to 19th, April 23rd to 25th. First weekend focuses primarily on raising money, which we talked about earlier.
Right.
Second weekend focuses primarily on how we do the Burley model, how we cash flow properties, and how we acquire them with creative financing. The package includes over $10,000 worth of stuff, DVDs, lots of digital download CDs, all the forms, all the contracts, all the documents. So it's a very comprehensive package, and it's 6 days. And the reason is, you and I talked about this, Farron. This is a real business. I mean,
Yes, it is.
You're not going to learn how to do any business on a couple-hour Zoom meeting. That's not how the world works.
Just doesn't work.
Never has, never will be. And so we just teach, the nuts and bolts. I know you and I were talking about this. A lot of people, refer to it as like you get a business in a box.
Right.
And we just take you through on what to do and how to do it. You can go to johnburley.com. So JOHNBURLEY.com.
Right.
You can call my office at 623-561-8246. You can also, if you use Facebook, go to Facebook and do John Burley Real Estate Investing. We have a page. You have to agree that you won't do anything bad, and then you can join.
There you go.
And we do make sure it's a very safe and very secure page, so we don't allow spamming or
Right.
money offers or ops or any of that stuff. None of that exists on our page.
Right.
And we eliminate it every day and kick those people out forever
There you go.
because they're not safe to the community.
It's not worth it.
And so we just teach you how to do the business properly. And if you're newer or experienced and you've got a question, especially here in the Arizona markets, and you just need a little bit of help, and you don't want to post anything online, then just call my office at the 623-561-8246. We're unique in that everybody who works there is actively involved in the real estate investment business.
There you go.
That's what we do.
Well, in fact, and that's one of the primary reasons I invite you on the show and have done previously is, as you know, with my business, the Your Personal Bank that I recommend to folks is, gosh, this is the Your Personal Bank show, right?
Yeah.
And as I share with people all the time, those that maybe haven't heard, it's very simple. We set up high cash value policies. We got companies paying dividends 6% still today. And considering the interest rate environment we're in, that's pretty incredible. I've been paying those dividends for the last 25 years plus. Never miss a dividend since before the Civil War, literally. And then we set up a bank line of credit using the cash on the policy as collateral. And folks get typically about 2 to 3% positive arbitrage. Well, one of the number one uses for the personal bank concept, that tool, and the banks tell me this, are real estate investors.
Absolutely.
And I have a number of clients who are active real estate investors who use this tool to enhance their real estate investing. So one of the things I always share, and so I get this question all the time, John. People are interested in investing in real estate for various reasons. They have an interest, they're concerned about the stock market or various other things. And I want to say, even today, I just want to add this, with the printing of the money that our federal government has been doing, purchasing tangible items makes more and more sense.
Agreed.
With inflation, right?
Agreed.
Because there'll be more dollars chasing items like houses. So I get to ask us all the question. Well, I'm interested in doing real estate, investing in real estate. Where should I start? And I generally steer them to you, because the education is important. And what John does is teaches you how not to be a real estate. I love this when you're training, not how to be a real estate investor, but how to own and run a real estate business.
Correct.
What are some of the keys that you teach?
Yeah. So if you're a real estate investor today, or you want to be a real estate investor, and you call yourself a real estate investor, just straight up, you've already got some serious issues. Because if you've got one rental property or an intention of going out and buying one property to flip, you need to look at yourself as a real estate investment business owner, because it is a business.
Right.
People who invest in real estate passively would be people who would be my capital investors or capital investors, my students, who put the money up and let other people do the work. But if you want to actively do the work, you are a business. You need to operate like a business. You need to act like a business. That's why it isn't a 1-hour Zoom meeting and you get rich quick doing absolutely nothing, sitting at home in your underwear.
Right.
You have to actually know how to run a business and how to work it. And so what we do is we take a very complex subject, break it down into sections and pieces, and teach you step by step how to develop and get it going. And people go right out and start doing transactions and start making money and start doing real estate. But it's like this. Look, in any business, there's a learning curve.
Right.
And in any business, there's lots of mistakes. And for myself personally, I found it was way easier when I began to go to the very best people that existed all those years ago and pay them money, have them share with me not their wins, their mistakes,
Right.
and then go, okay, I will never do X again, ever. I don't need to make that mistake. He already nailed that mistake. I don't need to repeat it. And then I'd take a model that was already proven, that already worked, that was decades through all kinds of markets, and that's what we do. And so that's what we teach.
That is very powerful, because when I was a young business owner, like I said, I've owned 4 businesses, and one of them is a real estate investment business. Business. And I didn't know any better. I didn't have any mentors. Made some wins, made some major losses, and realized later, gosh, I wish I'd had a mentor that taught me some of the ropes.
Yeah. It's easier to work with someone who's already done it, who already knows what it is. The people in Arizona love it, because at events we get people from all over the country, literally all over the world. The Arizonans like it because they get a little extra advantage, because I'm right here, and an extremely active investor in this market today, right now.
Right. So you get the advantage of having that mentorship, or that, avoiding the mistakes and shortening the learning curve, right?
Yeah, and then at our events, our events are very unique. A large percentage of the people in the events are very, very successful. Many of them are what we call Burley Century Club members. Those are people who have over 100 properties in inventory, cash flowing every month. So you're actually really rubbing shoulders and meeting with people who are very successful in this market where you want to be successful.
Exactly.
And boy, talk about removing doubt and filling one with hope and with faith. Being around people who are doing it for real is a big difference. Yeah,
because I could see, someone who's maybe never raised funds, maybe never ran a business before.
If it's not scary, it should be, just so you know. It should be. And so it's just, you need hand-holding. You need people who have done it before.
Right.
You need to cultivate new friendships and relationships with people who are successful at doing what you want.
Right.
And doing that. And then we just focus on the different pieces, whether it's, how to buy properties for discounts in today's market, how to buy properties to get the highest rate of returns, whether you're looking for, short-term properties, long-term properties, how to get owner financing, whether it's how to, and for many people, what it really is that they figured it out. It's like, look, my problem is I just need money. And let's face it, the truth is, there's lots of ways you can do real estate for very low or very no down that really do work, but they're hard to find, especially in a good market.
Right.
The reality is, if you have lots of money and the ability to borrow, real estate's really easy.
Right.
And for most of us, the majority of that borrowing power and the down payment money and that capital, that comes from capital investors. That comes from another person. So what we teach people to do is to set up a joint venture. We create a business, and we're doing a very short version of this. There are a lot of details. You got to dot your I's, you got to cross your T's.
Right.
In our package, we provide all the documents that were originated out of Arizona of how you do everything to be legal and in compliance, because you can screw it up.
I was going to say, if you don't know what you're doing, you can get yourself in hot water, right?
You can get yourself in a lot of trouble real quick.
Yeah.
And then, we go through that, but basically the model is that, people start out working with their sphere of influence. That's
right.
Layman's term, the people you know. If you don't know people who can do it, then we teach you how to expand your sphere of influence and work with more influential, i.e. people who have more capital and more money, who are wealthier. And then you form a business, and we teach you how to do that. We provide, actually at the event, we have an attorney that shows you what to do.
Right.
And then what we do is we just teach you step by step how to raise the money, what the presentation is. You get paid $10,000 per property up front, like a real business does, because real businesses always get paid first, not last.
Right.
If you have a business now where you don't get paid first, you've already experienced a lot of problems with your business model.
Certainly.
And so what we do is we just teach how to run a proper business with a lot of systems in a very much a step-by-step manner. We teach it modular. So this is the module on how we do this, how we do this, how we do that. And we just teach you the process. And for most people, the thing they need to do the most is either, number one, successfully, for a really good rate of return with a lot of safety and a lot of security, place their existing money. And for even more people, how to either get more money to add to what they've already done, or to how to get money just to start.
Right. And I can say this firsthand because I've attended a number of your programs. It's very hands-on.
Yes.
There's a lot of assistance, a lot of help. And I think I'm not aware of another real estate educator or whatever term you want to use that's had more successful students in the country.
We
don't
actually,
think there is one.
and for the last decade or so, I on purpose only do about 4 events a year. I used to travel the world, but just personal life, family, the things I enjoy to do, and running my investment company, we really slowed down doing that stuff. We factually, although we teach far less than most people, we have more people who have done over 100 deals than anybody else who has ever taught in the history of the earth.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and the reason is because what we teach is the limitation. Money and the ability to borrow. Right. And we remove that. And so therefore, you can go as far as you want. You can get 10, you can get 20, you can get 100. And we have students, one guy back in Baltimore who has over 6,500 properties.
Wow.
But he learned how to raise money.
And he started probably your spring training event, I would assume.
He started at this event, yes.
And one more time, what is this event you have coming up?
It's the Burley Real Estate Investor Spring Training. You can go to johnburley.com. There's free downloads on the front page, and then you can click the link and learn more about the event. It's 2 weekends back to back. It's 6 full days. They're long days. They're lots of work. They are live on purpose. We will be doing all the COVID protocols and keeping people safe. April 17th to 19th. Is the first weekend. The next weekend is April 23rd to 25th. It comes with a very, very large support package. A lot of people call it a business in a box. You get all the forms, all the docs, all the contracts that you need to do the business and buy and sell the real estate. We also provide you with audios and DVDs.
John, thank you for joining us. It's been an awesome interview. I want to tell everybody, go to yourpersonalbank.com. If you missed any of this, go back and listen to it. And if you have any questions on how you can combine your personal bank and learn how to do real estate investing, contact us at yourpersonalbank.com.
Listen Tuesday at noon and Thursdays at 1 for more information on Your Personal Bank. Contact Ference at yourpersonalbank.com. This show is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information. The presenter and guests on this program do not engage in legal, accounting, or tax advice. Professional advice regarding your situation should be sought if required. Products and writers may have limitations and may not be available in all states. Excessive unpaid loans may affect performance. Distributions may become taxable if not managed properly. Replacements may not be suitable for everyone. There may be charges when replacing coverage. Compare when considering a replacement. Dividend rates and baseline of credit rates may change. Contact yourpersonalbank.com for current rates.